Today I'll discuss principles of navigation in Feachr. Now, most people are used to having a pendant, and you can move your machine along the y-axis, the x-axis, z-axis, etc. With Feachr, you just point to where you want to go, and it'll drive your machine in the direction that you see in the camera view. Now you can go to precise positions also by clicking on the spot you want to go to, and it'll move the camera to where you clicked. That could be in any direction, and it could be towards a feature or something that you've marked on your material or an important landmark. So let's make a new project, and I'll show you how to create landmarks that you can later use to navigate all around your workspace. Just call this my navigation project. So the first thing I can do is I can just go to any place where I click. Let's say that's a little mark that I've put on my material. And I can drop a point, and we can just name this whatever we want. So, not the French word for man, but the home position. And you see that a point drops on my material, and that'll stay even as I move around. That'll stay. And kind of like a little map landmark, it'll collapse as you get further away so that we don't mess up the whole screen with a lot of green pluses. Another useful thing to do in terms of dropping relevant navigational features and landmarks is to trace circles for bolts. So I've got 4 bolts around my material on the various corners of a rectangle, and I'll trace the circle of the inside of the bolt, which will give me an automated circle that I can refine or just accept its center. So now the camera is over the center of the bolt, and I can create a marker circle feature and label it the same way I've got it labeled on my actual material. And now I have a couple of options in terms of navigating to this place. I can always go back there and I can navigate the camera over the position. But I can also choose to click this tool button, and that's going to move my tool over this, because of course the camera's in one place and the tool in the center of the spindle is in a slightly different location. Let's go ahead and see how easy it is to move to the other places around my work surface. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'll trace a circle for these various little bolts that I've got down on my spoil board material here. This time I'll give it a few little check marks to show the circle that I'm interested in. I'll tell it to refine, which means it's going to go over that and precisely align the circle that it found with the actual bolt on your material. I'll create that one, and since I don't know my left from my right, I accidentally wrote TR first, but this is actually TL. Now I'm going to go over here, and you can see I'm starting to accumulate these navigation landmarks. Again, I can click in the middle of my bolt, drop another circle, or tell it to trace the center so that I have a pretty good sense of where this circle is. Create that one, and I'll label this one TR, top right. Okay, so I can just go over here to the bottom right one. There we are. I'll trace this bolt hole here. Actually, try tracing the outside. So anything that's a circle, we can tell it to trace. And once you're happy with it, you can just click Create Circle. Now, with the circle, what it's navigating to when you click the camera position here, or the tool position, is the center of the circle that it found, which you can see it's indicating by the crosshairs. So now I have my bottom right landmark, and I can show this list of landmarks here. I can either go home, I can go all the way over here. That's the point that we created before. Or I can go over to this circle. I can bring the camera over to the circle in the middle of that bolt hole, or I can go to the other ones, clear across the table. And I just have a handy way to navigate. So there are a few other navigation metaphors that we have here, such as dragging the arrow. Nice thing is you don't have to remember X or Y. You're just kind of going to the location you want to go to. Again, as I showed before, I can use this magnifying glass tool, and I can find the precise position of anything that I have on my material, and I can just move my way over there. So if I wanted to get right at the edge of this cross, See, it's zoomed in nice and tight, and then I can go right over it.
And as I move further away, these navigation markers kind of collect towards the edge of the screen.
And that's useful because let's say I'm all the way over here and looking at this star that I know is in the middle of my aluminum material. I can click on the star to select it, and then click the camera, and now I'll navigate right over to the middle of the star. Another thing that we can do with the camera view is zoom out so that I can see more of my project, or I can zoom in for a more exact and refined view.
Sometimes we actually know the numbers that we want to use to navigate to a particular place. And I can move the camera kind of the way that I do with the regular old MPG or pendant that I can control. And I can adjust either X, Y, or Z by some unit, for instance, units or tenths or hundredths or thousandths. And then I can do that in X, Y, or Z this way by entering numbers precisely. And the machine is navigating there as if I had typed some G code or as if I had entered a number into the MDI or into the coordinates in Centroid or whatever control software you're using. Now, if I click on one of the objects, the features, in this case some circles, I can go to these positions as well. Right now, the camera is over this circle. And so it sees the circle and we're right over its center. That's not where the tool is. Now the tool, if I click this switch here, is over at this coordinate. So I can even go to the tool position. So the tool is really directly over that circle. And then I can move about, perhaps adjusting the tool position exactly to where I want it to be. I can set the coordinate of that circle based on either that camera position or the new tool position where I am right now. Navigation is one of those fundamentals that helps us move visually and save important positions to use them as references throughout the project. I'll be making more fundamentals videos to help you get really thinking about how Vision for CNC with Feachr.it makes part fabrication easier, maybe even a bit more fun.